Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. I'm Lisaa, and I'm so happy you're here today. If you've ever stayed awake at night because your mind just wouldn't stop thinking, or you've worried about things that never even happened, then today's episode is especially for you. Today, we're talking about overthinking. And joining me, as always, is my good friend Hector. Hi, Hector. How are you today?
Lisaa, I'm doing great. Thanks for inviting me again. I'm really excited about today's topic because I think almost everyone has experienced overthinking at some point in life.
I'm glad you're here. So, let's start with a simple question. Hector, what exactly is overthinking?
That's a great question. Overthinking is when you keep thinking about the same situation again and again without finding a real solution. Instead of solving the problem, your mind creates more questions. You start asking yourself, what if I fail? What if people judge me? What if everything goes wrong? These thoughts keep repeating until they make you feel stressed and exhausted.
That's a really interesting explanation. But here's something I've always wanted to know. How can someone tell the difference between normal thinking and overthinking?
The difference is actually very simple. Normal thinking helps you make decisions. Overthinking keeps you stuck. For example, if you're choosing between two jobs and comparing the salary, location, and future opportunities, that's healthy thinking. But if you spend days imagining every possible negative outcome and still can't decide, that's overthinking. Healthy thinking leads to action. Overthinking leads to fear.
I really like that sentence. Healthy thinking leads to action. Overthinking leads to fear. Now, let me ask you another question. Why do you think so many people overthink these days?
There are many reasons. Some people are afraid of making mistakes. Some care too much about what other people think. Others have had painful experiences in the past, so they expect bad things to happen again. And honestly, social media has made overthinking even worse. Every day, people compare themselves with others. That comparison creates stress and anxiety.
That's true. I think many people don't even realize they're comparing themselves all the time. But, Hector, why do we compare ourselves with others so easily?
I think it's because comparison is a natural part of being human. We look at other people's success and wonder if we're doing enough. The problem is, we usually compare our everyday life to someone else's best moments. That's simply not a fair comparison. Everyone has struggles. They just don't show them online.
That's a really good point. Sometimes people see a smiling photo on social media and immediately think, that person has a perfect life. But we never know what they're going through behind the scenes. Have you ever compared yourself with someone else?
Oh, definitely. There was a time when I compared myself with almost everyone. If someone got a better job, I felt I wasn't successful enough. If someone bought a new car, I thought I was falling behind. But later I realized everyone has a different journey. The only person I should compare myself with is the person I was yesterday. That mindset changed my life.
I really like that. The only person you should compare yourself with is the person you were yesterday. That's such a powerful message. That's a beautiful way to look at life. But Hector, why do you think it's so difficult for people to stop comparing themselves? Even when they know it's unhealthy, they still do it.
I think it's because we're surrounded by success stories every day. Open Instagram. Someone is traveling the world. Open YouTube. Someone has reached 1 million subscribers. Open LinkedIn. Someone just got promoted. After seeing all that, it's easy to feel like you're not doing enough. But what we don't see are the years of hard work, the failures, and the sacrifices behind that success.
That's so true. People often compare their chapter 1 with someone else's chapter 20, and that's never fair.
Exactly. Imagine planting a tree today and expecting it to become huge tomorrow. That would be impossible. Growth takes time. Success takes patience. Everyone moves at a different pace.
I completely agree. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever spent an entire night overthinking something?
More times than I can count. I remember once I had to give a presentation at work. The night before, I imagined every possible disaster. I thought I would forget my words. People would laugh, and my boss would be disappointed. I barely slept. But the next day, the presentation went really well. When I got home, I realized I had spent hours worrying about something that never happened.
I think everyone listening can relate to that story. Sometimes our imagination creates problems that reality never does.
Absolutely. Someone once said, "Worrying is like paying interest on a debt you may never owe." I love that quote because it's so true. Most of the things we worry about never actually happen.
That's a wonderful quote. But Hector, if worrying doesn't actually solve anything, then why does our brain keep doing it?
That's because our brain is trying to protect us. It thinks, if I prepare for every possible problem, I'll be safe. But the problem is, our brain can't always tell the difference between a real danger and an imaginary one. So it keeps creating what-if situations, even when there's nothing to worry about.
That makes a lot of sense. So, would you say overthinking is more about fear than reality?
Exactly. Most overthinking begins with fear. Fear of failure. Fear of rejection. Fear of making the wrong decision. Fear of disappointing people. The more fear controls your mind, the more your thoughts start controlling you.
I think that's something many people experience, especially students. They overthink exams, their future, their careers, even small decisions. Why do you think young people struggle with overthinking so much?
Because they feel pressure from everywhere. Parents expect good grades. Friends seem to be moving ahead. Social media shows successful people every day. And society keeps asking, what are you doing with your life? When you hear those questions again and again, it's easy to start doubting yourself.
That's true. Sometimes people feel like they're running a race without even knowing where the finish line is.
Exactly. Everyone is in a hurry. People want success overnight. But real success doesn't happen overnight. It takes patience, consistency, and many failures. Unfortunately, social media rarely shows that part of the journey.
So let me ask you this. If someone listening to us right now says, "I've been overthinking for years," what's the very first thing they should do today?
I'd tell them to slow down. Take a deep breath. Then ask yourself one simple question. Can I do something about this right now? If the answer is yes, take one small action. If the answer is no, accept that worrying won't change the situation. Sometimes peace begins the moment we stop trying to control everything.
Hector, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts today. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope everyone listening learned something valuable. Remember, overthinking won't change your future, but taking one small step today can. So be kind to yourself, trust your journey, and don't let fear stop you from living your.
Absolutely. And remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep moving forward. Every small step matters. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, please give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more natural English conversations and helpful podcasts like this. Also, let us know in the comments. What topic would you like us to discuss in our next episode? We'd love to hear your ideas. Thank you so much for listening. Take care. Keep learning. Keep smiling. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye everyone.
Bye everyone. Have a wonderful day, and see you next time.